It is Tiger time yet again. It's officially a dynasty, and the Richmond Footy Club are one of the greats. How you feeling, mate?
Oh, top of the world, mate. Top of the absolute world at the moment. Flag Tigers. We're, couldn't be happier at the moment. With everything going against a Victorian side winning the flag, even credit to Geelong for being there, but Richmond just once again proved that we're the best side in the comp.
It was an incredible game, and I think the reputation of the Richmond Footy Club now is just getting even better and better, isn't it? It's just the way you go about it, the way you just turn a game on its head, dominate a team, and the way you play as well. It's just really good to watch. And this club has transformed itself in 10 years. I mean, we spoke about the Brendan Gale thing last week, and that interview was just done the rounds over the last week, and it's just incredible what you guys have achieved.
I can't believe we've done it, to be honest. I remember hearing Brendan say that and thinking, this guy's a joke.
He got laughed at.
We're going to get rid of him. Yeah. By Richmond supporters. I was one of them. You know, you just didn't see that kind of a turnaround happening. One flag, like, that's a pipe dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to be able to look back now and say we've won 3 is, it's something pretty special, I think.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And as I said before, that puts you up there with the greatest teams ever, really. I mean, 3 and 4 years is a pretty good effort, and then the one that you missed out on was arguably your best season. So you've been the best team consistently for 4 years, which is unbelievable.
It is. Like I said, I'm still a little bit flabbergasted by the whole thing. It's I know a lot of us Richmond supporters like to get up and about and annoy a lot of other fans and stuff, but when you stop to really think about it, it is quite special, and you try to cherish these moments because they don't come around very often.
Absolutely, they're hard to win. They're hard to get to. I mean, I don't know what it feels like, so I can't really imagine what you're going through. It's I'm very jealous, and as I said to you before, grand final. Like, I used to froth grand final day every year as a kid, even probably up until a few years ago, and now it's just like, just want my team in it.
Yeah,
I just want my team in it. I also want to wake up one grand final morning with my team in it.
Well, like I was saying before, it's actually funny that I thought 2016 was one of the most fun years I've had grand final day, watching the Bulldogs and Swans, because it wasn't really before that. It was Hawthorn in it, 4 years in a row, and everyone was a bit over the Hawks being there, so it was actually quite fun. And then, but then at the end of the game, I remember thinking, geez, wouldn't this be nice? Like, the Bulldogs had such a inspirational season. Wouldn't this be nice? But thinking it was such a long way off, and then. Yeah, to look back now, it's pretty special.
And you were there a year later, weren't you?
Yeah, the next year we were there, so it was very special.
All right, well, what did you think of the spectacle of it all? Anyway, the whole day. I mean, obviously the first night game, it was in Brisbane. We're still in lockdown. We still couldn't have any people over.
I think that was the biggest thing for me. I think if we were able to have people over and do things, go to a pub, maybe the day may have been gone a little bit quicker, may have been a little bit more enjoyable in that sense. In the night game, you might have been able to soak it in and enjoy it for what it was, because I guess the spectacle of the pre performances and the halftime program performances and all that look better at night because of all the lights and the fireworks and things like that you can do. But I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I always prefer it during the day. I think you can make more of a day of it, but I guess it's probably a good year to try it in the sense that we can't do anything anyway, so it may as well be at night. Yeah. But at the same time, it probably didn't give the night game justice because we couldn't do anything. Yeah. So I think it works a little bit both ways, but I don't think we'll see it again. I think it definitely has to go back to the daytime.
I think so, and I think if they were to change it, I think twilight would work better than night, because it's the wait isn't as long, and probably get half the game in light, the second half at night. So. If they were to change it, they'd probably go twilight. But yeah, I think they're going to stick with the day. It's just we're losing a lot of tradition in the game, and I think this is one that we sort of need to keep. I mean, the pre-match, we've had great pre-match entertainment before during the day. It doesn't necessarily need to be at night. Yeah, it might look better with all the lights and everything, but no, they can do a great job during the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I know they try and compare it, I guess, to the Super Bowl halftime performances. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're not the Super Bowl. No. We're the AFL Grand Final, and you're there for the footy.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? And this may sound a little bit corny as well, but this is a genuine reason why I like it during the day as well. And it makes sense, I guess. By the time the day game finishes, it's late afternoon. The sun usually starts to drop by then. And I guess as the team is doing the lap of honour around the oval and the sun starts to set, it's almost like the sun is like closing out the season. It's like a nice little send off. It's like it's a bit of a romantic story almost. You know what I mean? Like walking off into the sunset, and that's almost what it's like. Whereas when it's at night, I mean, you don't get that. Not that that's really something that they look into too much. I think that's more of a personal thing, but. Yeah, I think it takes away from the spectacle, and for young people as well. Like, I mean, even people our age, I guess. But the game finishes at 10:30, 11. By the time they do all the post-match celebrations, it's 11:30. Everyone wants to go to bed. Yeah. No one wants to go out and celebrate. I mean, we couldn't this year, so that's why I said it was a good year to test it. But no one can do anything. Young kids are going to want to go to sleep. They're not going to want to stay up and watch all the post-game things. So, look, I think you bring it back during the day. And like you said, if you were to do it any later, twilight would be good. Maybe a 4:30 start. Yeah. That'd be the latest I'd be going there. I don't think a night game is here to stay.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think they're like, fans really voiced their opinion about it during the day, saying how bad the wait was and how long it was, and let's just get the game, started earlier. So, yeah, I think it's going to be day, and we'll see what happens. I know Gil is a big fan of the day grand final. So.
Yeah, I think that's why it took so long to be implemented. People have been talking about a night game for years, and Gil just hasn't really had a bar of it. And I guess probably the right thing to do. Just thought it's the best time to do it. So I know Channel 7 though tried to hype it up a little bit, the day of sport with the Cox Plate and all that. But how many people are really watching the Cox Plate?
I can't believe that took precedence over it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, the Cox Plate had its day locked in from however long ago and all that, and you're not going to change it. In the night grand final would have been decided a while ago as well, but. I don't know, to try and hype it up as a big day of sport that everyone should be looking forward to, and then play the Cox Plate. I don't know. It's not the Melbourne Cup for me, and even then, I don't really watch the races all day anyway. No. It's just, maybe it's just not our sport. I guess there's people out there that do love it, but I don't think it's a very majority love sport. So.
No, definitely not. Yeah, but I don't know. Look, I would prefer day. Like I didn't really like the wait around and. It just didn't feel like a grand final being played at night. It just felt like a regular finals game. Mm-hmm. But then there's an argument to say, would it look better at the MCG? It could.
It could. Mm. I mean, everything looks a little bit better at the MCG, but then you could also make the argument, doesn't it look better at Optus Stadium?
Yeah.
Because they've got all the lights, the light show that you can put on there. But I mean, I don't know. I think I'm glad we've tried it. No better time to do it. I think we do go back to the day just because one tradition, I hate seeing footy traditions go. You know what I mean? One that I hate, nothing to do with the night or day, but is the kicking to yourself at a full back. I know it makes the game a little bit faster, but I used to love watching. You know what I mean? Just it's a little fun aspect of our game, and they've taken little things away. So I think definitely bring it back to a day grand final. It's a special part of our game, and it's worked for so many years for good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a resounding day from both of us. Although there was a bit of concern, wasn't there, during the day? It was wild storms in Brisbane. Did you see the photos of the puddles on the ground and everything?
Ridiculous. Yeah. And I think I got to give credit to Brisbane's groundskeepers. Yeah, the way it's able to drain was fantastic because it was obviously a bit slippery, but no more than what it looks like any other night at the Gabba. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. But I was getting nervous for a little bit there. I thought, oh, geez, here we go. I thought the wet weather will help Richmond. But when I said it's going to be cancelled, I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. Like, don't tell me.
I'll never do it. They'll never do that in Queensland again. Because the tropical rain over there is so different to the Melbourne rain.
Oh, completely.
So they won't do that again.
You don't see that happening. No. That's why I'm disappointed for Brisbane fans that they didn't get to see their club play in the grand final. I thought it would have been something special for them. But, all credit to Richmond and Geelong to be able to push through while hubbing for over 110 days.
That's crazy, isn't it? To think all Victorian teams relocated up to Queensland, you think it would give the teams that were able to stay at home their advantage, but... Richmond and Geelong, both in the grand final, two Victorian teams. That just shows how good those two teams are.
Can I just say though? Imagine that was at the G.
Yeah. Oh.
I know you said it to me actually, so I'm just copying what you said to me. But imagine this was at the G.
That would have been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Richmond, I've been lucky in their last two grand finals. We played against interstate teams, so it was majority Richmond crowd. But a Richmond Geelong grand final would have been bananas.
Yeah. The first Victorian grand final since 2011.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
that's also credit to the interstate teams as well. To show that they're doing pretty good. But it's good to see an all Victorian grand final. I think, especially if you like us and from Victoria, it's
a good spectacle. You just get really, really passionate groups of supporters, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I guess that's the home of football is Victoria, and it's all the clubs originated here. I guess one way or another. So it's always something special to see.
All right, give us your thoughts on the game. I'm gonna give you the floor. You talk about your Tigers.
Well, I'll try. I try to raise my voice a little bit so you're not hearing the wood chopper in the background there. He's trying to ruin it for us. He must be a Geelong supporter at the back there, that guy chopping down trees. But I'll tell you what, the game started with a bang, didn't it? It was the first 5 minutes. Gary Ablett, Nick Vlosten, Basher Hooley, all three of them got injured in the first 5 minutes of the game, and you just thought, oh, geez, it's going to be a hard-fought contest. I think when Gaz went down, just knowing Gary Ablett and the warrior that he is, you knew he was coming back. I did personally. I thought there's no way he'll be off the whole game. Vlosten, you knew there was no way he was coming back, and Hooley, you didn't even know was injured till after the game. So, but still, massive, impact in the first few minutes of the game. And then I know Parfitt as well for the Cats broke his finger.
Yeah,
can't remember when that was though. But massive bang to the start, and then Geelong were just all over the Tigers in the first half of footy. It was really one-sided, and I thought Richmond kicked the first 2 goals, and then after that, it just sort of was all downhill from there. And I thought with Vlosten gone, it really opened us up defensively, and Geelong were able to take advantage of that and looked promising. And I'll tell you what, at half-time, I had no confidence that we were going to come back. People promptly reminded me that we did it in the prelim the year before, but I was thinking it's shorter quarters this year. We're just not looking the same. Geelong have come off a pretty good couple of wins where they belted the last 2 sides. I thought, don't tell me we're next. And I was pretty quiet at halftime, to say the least, even with that beautiful Dustin Martin fend-off goal just going into halftime. But gave you a glimmer of hope, but I think that was just about it. And then, Dustin Martin, that's all I've got to say, that last half. Obviously, I have a bias towards Dusty, but from your point of view, what are your thoughts when you see something like that?
Mate, he is... Honestly, there's not enough words to describe Dustin Martin. For me... I'm putting him up there as one of the greats of this modern era, that's for sure. Of the players that we've seen in our lifetime, he's up there. He's in that category with Ablett and Buddy. He has to be. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He has to be. Because, who's done the things that he's done?
In big games as well.
That's what it is. During the season, we can argue that blokes like, Ablett, Judd, Buddy, they're all probably better during the year. And they are, because they're probably more consistent. But when Dustin Martin decides he wants to turn it on, and he does, I don't think anyone matches him. And like you said, when it comes to big games, he's always there. He won another Gary Ayres medal this year, another Norm Smith medal.
That just shows how good he is in the big games, winning awards like that.
And it's not just grand finals as well. Obviously, to win a Gary Ayres, you're going to be the best player of the final series, and he's done that 3 times.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. It is absolutely absurd. So he's up there. He's up there with the greats of this modern era, and. Arguably, there's been a bit of discussion about it this week, but arguably Richmond's greatest ever player too.
Yeah,
that's a big honour.
Oh, it is. It is. To be the best of any club, I guess, is a big honour, but especially one of the older teams like Richmond's been around for so long. We've had so many greats. That's a huge honour. But yeah, I don't know. I can't describe words for Dusty. Like you said, he's just not a human. He's just not a human being.
He's not.
Goal from the boundary line.
His 4th goal was just out of this world.
Oh, I'll see if we can dig up some footage of me celebrating the game. But it was a point where he's kicked that goal, and I thought, there's no way. There's no way this goes through. It was like it happened in slow motion almost. And I'm like, this isn't going to go through. It isn't going to go through. Yeah. And then you see him start wiggling his finger. And I'm like, it's on here. It's gone through.
It's outrageous.
He only shrugged off Patrick Dangerfield as well, probably the best player in the game. Yeah. Or second best now.
Probably as strong as Dusty as well.
If not stronger, just as strong. I think Dusty just knows how to use his strength a little bit better. But Dangerfield's a beast in his own right.
Just touching on Dangerfield, what did you think about his hit on Vlosten? Did you think he should have got suspended for that?
I thought maybe a fine.
Yeah.
I thought a fine. I didn't think he was going to cop any weeks. At the time, I was absolutely filthy.
Yeah,
and I was going off.
Yeah.
But after watching it a few times since and, knowing the end result, and we didn't need Vlosten in the end anyway. Yeah. He reached out, punched the ball. He brought his elbow back in. So to me, it looked like, he tucked his arm back in, but you could argue that at the end there was a slight little raise, just as Vlosten's come. So
it's right on that border, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they probably should have just given him a fine. It's hard to say this. You can't fine someone just to please the public opinion, but I think a fine probably would have been justified. It's not like Danger's short of cash.
But I think the fact that Vlosten was knocked out and didn't play the rest of the game, and Dangerfield still didn't get anything, I think that proves that was fine, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing, because a lot of the time this year they've been based off the result,
outcome. Yeah.
The outcome. That's why Tom Lynch got away with all these things this year, because there was insufficient force. Whereas Dangerfield's knocked Vlosten out cold.
Can you imagine if Tom Lynch did that?
Oh, he wouldn't play next year.
Nah.
He wouldn't play for a full season. I mean, he wouldn't be able to. That public opinion would go off.
Yeah.
But So look, for me, I'm happy to see. I wouldn't have minded a fine, but in hindsight, like you said, I think there wasn't much Dangerfield could have done. It was all pretty split second. I think it was just one of those things that happens in footy, and it was just unlucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, there was carnage in that game, especially in that first quarter. Then the big one was Gary Ablett in his last game.
Yeah.
Jeez, that broke my heart watching that.
I won't lie, because there's people listening that saw me in action. But when Gary Ablett did that shoulder, and you knew, like I said, you knew he was coming back on. As soon as he ran back on the ground, I was screaming at the TV for someone to just drop him and take out that shoulder. I'm thinking, I remembered what he did in the prelim the week before.
Yeah.
I thought, if he does that and we lose because someone didn't just target him, I would have been filthy. But maybe it's because hindsight's a beautiful thing and we won the game. But I'm so glad that didn't happen. And I regret saying those things, because Gary Ablett's Gary Ablett.
Yeah.
He's the best player we've ever seen. You know what I mean? I mean, he's such a superstar for the game. And I think, especially the reputation Richmond has at the moment. If we had gone out and, it was visible that we were targeting his...
Yeah, it would have been bad.
It would have been bad. It wouldn't have been a good look. So I'm glad we didn't do that. And I'm glad we let Gary have the send-off. Obviously he probably does there's a send-off everyone would have loved for him to see. Would have been a flag on his last game. But I think in terms of, seeing him off the way he deserved to be sent off was playing. And I think that it was a broken shoulder.
Yeah,
to play through that.
It's heroic, isn't it?
Hooley played with his calf and Parfitt played with his broken finger, but Gaz has had surgery on that shoulder before, and you could just see every time he went near it. Oh, and do you remember this little one, which I thought was quite impressive? That little handball to Joel Selwood that he did.
Yeah,
that was bananas, wasn't it? That was class. That was vintage Gary Ablett right there.
So good.
I wouldn't have even seen Joel Selwood running by if I was in that game.
Yeah.
Not only would I have not been able to physically get it to him that quickly, but I wouldn't have seen him.
Yeah.
And Gary Ablett just knew. And
it's incredible.
Once again, I was disgusted when he did it during the game because I was so passionate at the time. But looking back at the highlights and seeing him do it, you think, wow, that's something special. And it's pretty good that we were able to witness Gary live.
Absolutely. What a last game for him to go through all that and then to play through it. And it's just that. And then the way he got, the way he was embracing his family at the end of the game, and he got emotional. I think that made a lot of people emotional watching it. That's for sure. Like, I was getting pretty emotional seeing that. Obviously, we all our lives we've known Gary Ablett to be playing footy.
Exactly right. I don't really know the AFL without Gary Ablett.
Yeah. So it's so it was sad, and everyone talks about how much of a great person he is, and to see him like that and upset, it was pretty tough to watch, and then that classy send off that Richmond did for him as well was really. I thought that was really, really good, and for them to tuck in their medals as well to show respect for him that's one of the classiest things you'll ever see from a footy club.
Yeah, and I just want to say that, just reiterate that, because the amount, like I said, everyone's been giving Richmond a lot of flack this year for being a bit arrogant and antisocial and all the rest of it, but even I was surprised when I saw them do that. That's such a nice thing to do, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure they got inspiration from Dusty. I think in his 17 season when Dusty won the Norm Smith, while he was celebrating, he tucked in his Norm Smith medal because he didn't want to, look like he was better than everybody else, I guess, and he wanted to be on the same level, and he tucked in his Norm, and then I think that's where they got the inspiration from to do it for Gary, and Jack went and spoke to Paddy Dangerfield and said, look, we really want to do this for Gaz, he's such a champion of the game. And I'm so glad they did it, because Gary deserves nothing less.
Absolutely.
And it was only fitting that his last game was a grand final, wasn't it? The biggest stage of them all. It was a shame it wasn't at the G, and his whole, every whole family could have been there, but there's no more fitting stage for a champion that Gary Ablett to be sent off than a grand final. Yeah,
no, it was fantastic. Fantastic the way that was all played out towards the end, and wish Gary all the best going forward. We're definitely going to miss him from the game. He's one of the best, if not the best. So
we know you're an avid listener, Gary. So just shout out.
Let us know when you want to come on, mate. We've always got time for you. So speaking of great players though from that game, Jaden Short, how good was he?
He was phenomenal, wasn't he?
And taking out your best and fairest the other night too.
To win a best and fairest in a premiership year is not an easy feat.
No.
And Shorty, I guess he's probably one of those players that, from an outsider's point of view, you look at who won Richmond's BNF and you go, who? But from inside the club, he's probably starting to get more recognition now, but from inside the club, Jaden Short is such an important player. Yeah. And I'm not surprised in the slightest that he won our best and fairest, and not surprised that he had such a good grand final. It's his second now. which is good. And him personally, he's had such a tough year. His old man passing away and all the rest of it. And
see the speech that he did at the BNF?
Yeah, I was watching the BNF live.
Pretty sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a touching speech. And, so it's always tough to watch someone emotional like that. But Jaden Short is just an inspirational character, and he had a really, really good game. I can't really fault him, to be honest. But just quickly as well on players that, or I guess this probably different point of view, player that didn't have a really good game, and that's Paddy Dangerfield. What are your thoughts on Chris Scott justifying his decision to leave Dangerfield in the forward pocket the whole third quarter when Richmond came from 21 points down, hit the front, and their best player had two. I think he had 3 disposals in the third quarter.
It wasn't a good call from Scotty. That wasn't his best moment. I think Dangerfield, arguably, along with Dusty, the 2 most influential players on the ground. You put Dangerfield in the middle when the game's on the line like that. When Richmond are coming hard, you need to put him in the middle.
100%. I said at one point during the game, I thought, any bet's Dangerfield's bet, like he's due to come tear the game up now, and he never did. He never came. I never saw him. According to Chris Scott, they had the conversation between themselves, and both decided Chris and Dangerfield decided that he was best in the forward pocket. But someone like Paddy, he knows that the game was about to be taken out of their hands. Surely there's that type of player, the caliber of player. You step up and. I'm not saying, you step up and he's all of a sudden going to do what Dusty did and put the game in his own boot. But
he could have.
He has that ability to. So just putting himself in the midfield and giving himself the opportunity to do that, I think would have made for a completely different game. And I might not be sitting here with my cap and jumper on gloating like I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not the first time Chris Scott's made a bit of a mistake like that against Richmond as well. I think last year in the prelim, didn't he play Blitzav's completely out of position?
Played on the wing.
Yeah, where he was their best defender throughout the whole season. Was playing, I think he was all-Australian defender.
Yeah.
And then come prelim final night, he plays him on the wing. So I think Chris Scott's made a few blunders in big games like that. I think he's a great coach, but I think he's made a few mistakes.
His finals record is interesting, but he is a great coach, obviously. But is he great? Is he just lucky to have a good team? I think he's a good coach. Yeah. I'm not saying he's not. I do think he's a good coach. I just think he's made some questionable decisions in big games that are very costly. Yeah. But I don't know what it is with Chris Scott. He seems to underestimate Richmond all the time.
He does, doesn't he?
He said comments numerous times. Leading up to the grand final, he said that he admitted that we were a good side. But beginning of the year, he was saying he didn't think we were up there with the Hawthorn I agree with. I don't think we were up. The Hawthorn win 4 grand finals in a row, won 3 of them, plus their 08 one. They were pretty good. But he said we went up there with the Geelongs, Collingwoods, or St Kildas. First of all, Collingwood won 1, and St Kilda didn't even win 1. So I don't know how you're saying. And we'd won 2, and we'd won 2 at this point.
That's a poor statement.
We'd won 2 and made a prelim in 2018. How do you say that we're not as good as St Kilda or Collingwood in their eras?
Don't even say St Kilda.
What? They
didn't even win 1.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he's saying silly stuff like that, and then who's laughing now? I guess. But
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if Chris Scott just says things to stir a bit of, stir the pot a little bit, or if he genuinely believes that. But you can't really say a lot now.
Yeah. Well, exactly right. He's I know he's been notorious. I don't think he likes doing press conferences and speaking to the media.
No.
So I think his cranky side comes out and he says some stupid things. So
I was listening to an interview on SEN the day of the grand final. He was on for a fair chunk of the day, actually, in the morning.
Yeah.
And he was saying, he wished he loves coaching, but he wished that you could do it privately.
Yeah.
And he kept going on about it. He goes, I wish that there was no media. I wish that. So yeah, he definitely hates the media, which, to be fair to him, I probably wouldn't enjoy it myself. Every time something happens, you're constantly getting hounded. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? There's so much pressure on an AFL coach, but I think he's been in the game for how long? I think, was 2011 his first year as coach at the Cats?
And he won the flag.
That year. Surely by now you're used to it and know not to say silly things.
True.
But anyway, we move on. But speaking of silly things, this really upsets me as well. 2 wannabe comedians that definitely aren't football fans decided to streak during the grand final, mid-play as well.
Pretty close to the ball.
Very close to the ball. Zach Tui was, was in tackling distance. He could have taken him down, done a bit of an Andrew Simons on him if he wanted to. How disrespectful can you be? Streaking. Look, people find it funny, whatever, but it's not funny. Not in the grand final,
nah.
and obviously that. Look, I don't know these guys. I don't follow them or anything about them really, but they're obviously not football fans because you wouldn't do that at the grand final. How desperate for attention are you?
That's what I don't think they are. Because I watched one of their lead-up videos. So they planned this out for the whole week. that they were going to do this. And they knew nothing. They were learning how to kick a footy. They didn't even know anything about AFL. So they're just probably NRL nuffies, just trying to get their 5 minutes of fame. And I mean, no one in Victoria was impressed, were they?
No, it's not. It's not funny at all.
Not in a grand final.
Of all games, they do it in a regular season game. Even then, it's not really that funny.
It almost takes the piss out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, they're mocking the game.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're mocking the game. Yeah. And people go, "Oh, they're these funny TikTokers and all that." And I had a look at their TikTok after the game and had a look. And if your version of comedy is honestly just doing destructive things in public, and that's your version of comedy, then you don't have a good sense of humor. No. That to me, that wasn't funny. That was just silly and a waste of time. And it was a mockery of our game.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough if you do that in a sport like cricket, where you can get a bit boring. There's a lot of lulls in a cricket game.
Yeah.
But in an AFL grand final, don't do it.
No, and you know what? I hope those guys get I know they're going to get fined. They're going to court next month. I hope they cop a massive fine. And I would love to see them get. I know this won't happen, but I would love to see them get banned from all stadiums in Queensland.
I probably will,
because if they're NRL fans, I'd love nothing more to know that they can't go watch their team play because they can't get in. So look, I doubt that'll happen. They'll probably be banned from the Gabba and cop a big fine, and they probably don't care.
Yeah,
which is the worst part.
Stuff them. Who cares? Yeah. Let's not give them any more airtime, I reckon.
Nah, move on.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about in regards to your Richmond themed weekend?
Oh, well, it's been a big one. The day after the game, went down to Punt Road and walked around the area, and it was an eerie feeling. It wasn't. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Swan Street was never going to be what it was the last couple of years we've won.
There was a few people that made their way up Swan Street on Saturday night, though.
I was very tempted to, but I thought, but why? There's nothing to do.
Point.
You can walk up and down, but it's not. You can't do anything. So I'm like, there's no point. So I didn't bother. But I went the next day, when I got a coffee and a bite to eat, and walked up in Swan Street. And there's a few people walking around. I went down to Punt Road and had a look just to soak in the atmosphere a little bit. But there really wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe a few more supporters would have gotten down just to, be in the area. And I mean, like I said, not much you can really do.
No.
But
I think it's good that nothing really happened.
I'm glad nothing happened.
Just before restrictions eased.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're not naive. We know, and the government would know as well, that people definitely did things on grand final day.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that no one went and did anything publicly out in the street and just because it would have pushed everything further back.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad. And now we're starting to open up. And pubs are open this week.
We're officially out of lockdown.
Exactly.
As of today.
As of today, yeah. So as of 11:59 last night, we're out of lockdown. Pubs are open again. So if you're a Richmond supporter, let's make sure we get down to the London Tavern, have a couple of beers, celebrate the win, watch the replay. But so it's great to see everything's opening back up. It would have been, tell you what though, if the storms that we spoke about earlier had happened and they postponed it a week later, we may have been open to do things. Could have gone to a pub to watch the game.
Absolutely. It would have, imagine if it happened this weekend. Melbourne Cup weekend as well. It would have been.
Oh, jeez, that'd have been.
Would have been chaotic.
I think as much as everyone gives Dan Andrew a bit of flack, I don't think he's a silly man, and I think he knew that. Yeah, opening grand final weekend would have been
It would have been silly.
It would have been a silly decision.
Yeah,
as much as I don't like it, it would have been a silly decision because people would have gone bananas.
Yeah.
So it all worked out fine. It was what it was. It was a different grand final. It was a different year of football. We've spoken about that all season.
It was always going to be different.
Always going to be different, but it's happened now. And I guess we just look forward to the trade, the draft, and pre-season, and all the rest of it.
Absolutely, and this won't be our last episode, so we'll continue on throughout the whole trade and draft period, and pretty much right up until the end of the year, won't we? We'll have some guests on. We'll do our regular show that we do, but obviously no match reviews or previews. It'll just be literally just trade news, list news, all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be busy. It's anticipated to be the biggest trade period of all time. So
there's already a lot of crazy rumours going around at the moment, so it's going
to be fun.
Yeah, I love this time of the year.
Yeah.
Especially coming off a grand final win, but this time of the year is always great because it changes the whole dynamic of a football club,
and especially if teams that are struggling, it gives you hope. Going into next season, I know, as a Carlton supporter, I'm always looking forward to trade period. And, it gives you that false sense of hope usually. So it's always fun.
Well, I mean, can't relate really. But
well, you used to.
I used to be able to relate. I've tried to wipe that part of my memory away. But exactly right. It gives you that bit of hope. Excitement. You got new players coming to the club. For Geelong, for example, they lost the grand final, obviously a bit down in the dumps, but knowing there's a solid chance you're going to get Jeremy Cameron now.
Yeah.
you know,
absolutely.
well, that must pump you up so much. It's just little things like that. Exciting time of the year.
Yeah, no, it's great. Looking forward to it. So yeah, we'll keep the episodes coming in over the next few weeks, and pretty much leading up to the end of the year. So it should be fun. But we will still have a debate question for this episode, and that is Dustin Martin the best Richmond player of all time? So yeah, as always, check out our Instagram story for that one. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you think is ahead of him, or if there's anyone else currently playing or recently played that is better than him. Let us know. What do you reckon?
This is such an emotional topic for me. It hurts to say. In my head, it's always been Richo to me. But then I guess when you look back at it, was he the best performance-wise? Probably not. I mean, then you go, Royce Hart was a champion. But then I think Royce didn't get to play his full career because of his bad knees. So you'd probably say that Dustin's better than him now. He's played a better career. Kevin Bartlett, he's the final specialist. I mean, people always mention Lee Matthews. People forget Bartlett kicked 7 goals in a grand final one time. So, look, do I think Dustin Martin's best Richmond player of all time? Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best ever of any team.
Yeah.
He has to be now, doesn't he?
He's up there with the greats now.
Yeah, he has to be. I mean, it's not like he's just become a really good player recently. He's been good his whole career. It's just the last probably 4 years that he's really been the best in the competition. But yeah, I think Dustin Martin has to be one of the best Richmond player of all time, and definitely up there with one of the best of all teams.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's well and truly up there. And he's only 28, 29. So, I mean, what's to say that, if Richmond make the grand final over the next couple of years, what's to say he doesn't win another Norman Smith medal, if not another 2?
Oh, it's...
then what? He has to be. There's no arguments, is there?
But you can't argue. I tell you what, we were talking about this before, but this is a genuine possibility. And tell me if I'm just being a nuffy when I say this, but if Dusty does a bit, I know they're talking about Dangerfield playing a lot more time down forward now. If Dusty, takes on a more permanent forward role and moves out of the midfield and lets some younger boys develop, he could win the Coleman medal. He could win the Coleman. It's gone are the days that big forwards kick 100 goals a year. I mean, small forwards nearly won the Coleman this year at one point. Dan Butler, Tom Pabley were leading the Coleman at certain stages. Obviously, Tom Hawkins won, by about 15 goals, I think it was. But someone like Dusty who can average 3 goals, not average, but he can kick 3 goals a game without blinking an eye.
Yeah. It's the only medal that he doesn't have.
Exactly. So, I mean, maybe I'm being a nuffy, but Dustin Martin could honestly win the Coleman medal. And imagine that, a Coleman, a Brownlow, a Norm, 3 flags.
He kicks bags of goals when he plays.
That's what I mean. I mean, go back to last year's final series, he kicked 6 in the final, in the qualifying final against Brisbane.
Yeah.
Kicked 4 in the grand final last year. He kicked 4 in this year's grand final.
Yeah.
He kicked, he just kicks goals.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So he's every chance to win a Coleman one year. I mean, maybe I'm just a bit off, a bit way off the mark there, but I think he's a chance.
If you can keep him up there, and if that's where he plays for the majority of the match, then absolutely.
Well, if he does a Gary Ablett played his last probably 2 seasons up forward majority of the time.
Yep.
And I think Dusty's probably a better forward than Gary Ablett is.
Yeah.
He's more dominant up forward in terms of his body strength and the way he just seems to be able to find the goals even when you don't think it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's.
Call me crazy.
I don't think that's a stretch at all. But yeah, as I said, check out our Instagram story for that question. Is Dustin Martin the best Richmond player of all time? Love to get all your feedback on that. It's going to be hotly debated, I reckon.
I think it will be, especially from Richmond supporters that that have, or not seen maybe, because I think people our age haven't really seen much more than Dusty.
Yeah.
But, the ones that we've heard about, like I mentioned before, and there's others as well. So
yeah, it'd be good. Be a good discussion. But yeah. That is us done for our grand final review. It's been a great year. It's been a great year of footy. It's
been a fantastic year.
This is our last review of 2020.
This is. It's actually quite sad thinking about that.
It's been great. Inaugural year of Pressure Point. It's been good.
It has, and it's been a success. I've been really happy with the way everything's gone so far. It's been an interesting year. I think it's probably, of all years, it's been a good year to start something like this.
Definitely.
It's given us a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's given us a lot of time to focus on it as well.
It seems like a lifetime ago now, but we had the what do you call it? The footy festival of footy. We had 20 days in a row full of football, and there's so much that happened. It was it was awesome. Gave us a lot to talk about. COVID breaches, kebabs, strippers. It was heaps.
No, it's been good. It's been a lot. Everything's happened this year. It's been great. But I'm sure we'll as I said before, over the next few weeks we'll still be doing trade episodes, draft episodes, and we can even review the season, review some teams, get some more fans on, and then we'll have obviously our special guests as well. So it'd be fun.
Exactly right.
Be fun.
Let us know if there's anything you'd like to see us do as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The fans' perspective and input is always welcomed. So if there's anything you guys think we should do or would like to see, let us know.
Absolutely. But yeah, as we say every week, make sure you leave us a review, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify. All your support's greatly appreciated. We keep seeing them all every day, and means the absolute world. So keep them coming through. But have a great week. Have a great weekend. Don't need to stay at home anymore. You can leave home. So enjoy what you can enjoy within the rules, and
continue to wear your masks.
Continue to wear your masks. It's the only thing we ask. But yeah, enjoy being out of lockdown, and go see your family and friends.
Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure right! Pressure right!